So how do we screen for potential tenants for our house hack properties? When you're house hacking, it's essential to find tenants that are reliable, responsible, and ultimately fit in with your lifestyle as well. Because as a landlord, you're not only going to want them to pay their rent on time, be responsible, be good communicators, but you've got to remember you are going to be living in the same building or even the same unit, depending on which type of house hack property you purchase. So you want to make sure that they are going to fit in with your lifestyle and kind of how you run things as well. But here are 5 ways to screen for potential renters for your next house hack. Number 1 is conducting background checks. This probably goes without saying, but this is one of the most important steps when you are screening your tenants, because you want to know everything about them behind the scenes, such as if they have a criminal history, eviction record, etc., etc. My little Lou is scratching at me, so he's going to join the video for a little bit until he jumps down. But these background checks are going to show criminal history, their rental history, will also bring up their credit score. But a super important thing to note is that you need to obtain written permission from your renters before you can run a background check. You don't want to get in trouble with the law before they even move in, so just make sure that you get written permission from them. Tip number 2 is check their references. It is not a requirement, it's optional, but I highly recommend asking for at least 2 references. You can ask your tenants for previous landlords that they've worked with that might give them a good recommendation, or even past roommates. And these references are pretty much just going to tell you, are they paying on time? Were they good tenants? Did they take care of the property? Were they a good communicator? And were there any red flags? Because as you know, sometimes these things do not pop up on a background check, and these tenants probably don't want to tell you anything either. And the reason why I usually recommend putting at least 2 references is because you get a second pair of eyes on these people that potentially are going to live with you. Tip number 3 is conduct interviews. And this kind of goes back to, is this person going to fit with your lifestyle while you're living under the same roof or in the same unit, building, etc. These interviews will give you a sense of their personality, their interests, and their overall lifestyle and their habits. At this point, you can also ask for their hobbies, their social life, and kind of what their work schedule looks like. And once you've kind of done your own interview, your intuition is kind of kicking in a little bit. If you think they're going to be a good fit, now is the time to start talking about expectations and things to look forward to when they move in. Be sure to communicate these expectations, because this is going to be the ultimate deciding factor if it's going to be a good fit for them and for you. Tip number 4 is verifying income. This is so important and probably goes without saying, but this is what is going to decide if you think that they're going to be able to pay their rent or not. This is where you can ask for proof of income and even get a current pay stub from where they're currently working. And with written permission, you can ask these tenants or these potential tenants if they can provide bank statements to see if they have enough to cover rent and general expenses. Tip number 5, and maybe one of the most important things to do when you're screening for tenants, is submit a rental application. Ask these potential tenants to submit a rental application that you've generated for them. And this will help collect information on these tenants for when you're writing up the lease. And a lot of these rental applications will already have their rental history, their income, and their references that they can fill out. Now, this is very important when you're filling out a rental application or even screening for tenants in general. You need to make sure that you are complying with fair housing laws to avoid any discrimination. It's very, very, very important. You can get in a lot of trouble for going against fair housing laws. And if you've watched this far, here's a little bonus, a little pro tip. Sites such as Zillow or apartments.com have all of this stuff built into their websites already. For all of my properties that I've done with house hacking, I use apartments.com religiously. It is awesome. It has auto generation for lease agreements, rental applications, background checks, credit checks, everything you can imagine under the sun. There's also an auto pay feature on apartments.com, and they can also submit maintenance requests. So you can kind of use apartments.com, your account, as your portal, and for your tenants to use as a portal. It's super nice. It's super user friendly, and you also don't have to ever worry about chasing down your tenants if they don't pay on time. So in conclusion, just do your due diligence on your tenants. You are not going to regret it. Make sure you're doing the background checks, credit checks, rental history, get a couple of references. And once you found a tenant that is a good fit, just get them set up on something like apartments.com. Keeps it super simple and super seamless. If you found this video helpful, like, subscribe, do whatever, you know the drill, and I will see you guys next time.